Vishal Singh and I'll be teaching you chess today. So in the previous class, we had started with the checkmating using the rook, and we completed quite a few puzzles of that, and we'll be continuing that today as well. So let's get started with the classes. I'll be sharing my screen now, and here we go. Okay. So I'm pretty sure we had completed this puzzle in the previous class, but I'll give you a quick recap again of what happened in what happens in this puzzle. Okay, so you're playing as white, and this is not a single one move checkmate. This is three move checkmate actually. So what all I guess I've told you this before, but if you have to do a checkmate using only a king and a rook, you need to drive the opponent king into the corner somehow. Not specifically a corner, probably an edge or a corner, anything works. Okay, so what you do here is simply, just a second, yeah, simply play rook 2. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, you play rook 2 c7. By doing so, the entire 7th rank is your attack range. The entire 7th rank is within your attack range, and the king cannot come down. Why? Because your king is here at g5, so it cannot come anywhere near your king. Remember, that would be an illegal move. That's like putting your own king in a check, because once it comes down, it is our turn, and our king can easily then capture the enemy king. So that is not possible. So it cannot come down, and that it cannot stay on the 7th rank as well, due to our the only option it has to go up to either g8 or h8. So it goes up. Then what do? You do not directly move your rook up to put the king in another check, because then it can come down and escape. Remember, we need to corner it. So what we do is move our king up to g6. Now the opponent king cannot move anywhere. It cannot come down again, because the entire 7th rank is our attack range. The only option it has is to move to the left. Once it moves to the left to g8, you simply play rook to c8. So the entire 8th rank is our attack range. It cannot come down anywhere near our king. So that is how this was a check. All right. Now we're done with this. I gave you a quick recap. Now we'll go slow, don't worry. Okay. So in this, you're playing as white. Go ahead, pause the video. Let me know what your solution is, and then come back. Okay. So you're playing as white. Let's see what the black king has any option to escape. It cannot move to g3 and g2. Why? Because your king, it cannot move anywhere near your king. Not even one block. And these are the only three options. So let's take out g2 and g3. It cannot move there. So this is the only place that the king can move, even h1, h3, and it can stay at h2. So in short, we have to make sure we take the entire h file under our attack range. Rook is a perfect piece to do that. We simply do play rook to h4. The entire h file is within our attack range. It cannot stay there. It cannot move up or down, because that would still be under the check of the rook, and it cannot go towards the left either. So pretty simple, right? Okay. Now in this one, okay, this is quite simple. You are playing as black, and go ahead. I have given you enough information. Go ahead, pause the video, think of a solution, and come back. Cool. Now, assuming you did pause the video, you thought, and you came back, and you just weren't waiting for my answer. Hopefully. Okay, so now the answer to this is again very simple. You are playing as black. What we need to do is checkmate the white king. Let's see what are the options the white king has to move. It cannot jump on its own pieces, right? So let's get the three of this out of the option, that is a2, b2, and c2. Now it can either move to a1, c1, or stay at b1, right? So what we need to do is make sure the entire a file is under our attack range, or at least these three are under our attack range for it to be a complete checkmate. We have a rook here at e7. Simply bring the rook down to e1, and it's a checkmate. It cannot move up because its own pawns are blocking its way. So even if it comes to c1, that is still a check, right? That would be an illegal move. So this is a checkmate. Quite simple. Moving forward. Okay, so you are playing as white in this one. Uh, see, you have two rooks, you have a bishop, you have quite a lot of pawns. You see, make a scenarios in your head, see what you can do with all these pieces, and then come back. Okay, so let's see what other places the black king can move to in order to make this a checkmate. Let's get rid of the c7 option. You cannot jump on your own piece as usual, as I say always. Let's get rid of d7 with d7 and e8 because of our bishop. Okay. So what was so these two are out of the option as well. Let's also get rid of e7. Why? Because our rook is already laser beaming that block over there. So not even that. So the only place it can move to is c8 and it can stay at d8. So what do we need to do in order to make this a checkmate? We simply play rook to e8. By doing so, the entire 8th rank is within our attack range. It cannot move to, let's see. Okay. So it cannot capture our rook. Why? Because our bishop is protecting the rook. It cannot move here at d7 because of our bishop again. It cannot go to c8 because that would still be a check from our rook. It cannot move here at e7 also because of our rook. So this is again a complete check. Okay. See. Okay, so you are playing as white in this one. Go ahead, pause the video, come back. Okay, now let's see. Let's always first see what are the options the enemy king has to move and whether it is under direct check itself or the places or the blocks around the king are under your attack range. That is how it will make it easier for you to spot upcoming checkmate. Okay, so let's get rid of this b6. Its own pieces covering that block. The king cannot come down at. Okay, first of all, the entire 8th rank is out of the option because of the rook. Let's get that out. It cannot come to c6 and a6 as well. Why? Because your pawn is here at h5. These two blocks are under our control. So the black king cannot move there as well. So basically it cannot go up, it cannot go down. So the only place it can stay or move around is within the 7th rank. And what piece would be the best to cover the entire 7th rank under our control? Simple, our rook, right? So the answer should be rook to f7 and that is a checkmate. It cannot move up to the 8th rank, it cannot stay in the 7th rank, it cannot go down because of our pawn. So white, simple I'd say. Yes? Okay. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. So you are playing as black. Look carefully. You have a knight, a queen, a rook, and yeah, that is all the information you need. You are playing as black. Let's see if your solution does match mine. By the way, remember this is checkmate using the rook and not the queen. Either way, it is a checkmate from two ways. Okay, so okay, you have enough information. Go ahead, pause the video, and then come back. Okay, now let's see again. Okay, let's get rid of f2, obviously, because it cannot jump on its own pieces. The rook is occupying the entire h file as its attack range. So h1 and h2 out of the option. Obviously, g2 is out of the option as well because our queen is extending its attack range over there. S1 is completely fine and the king can stay here at g1. So we have to make sure these two blocks are under our control to make this a complete checkmate. So the answer to this is again quite simple. You simply play rook to h1. If it doesn't matter where the rook is under the h file, the h file will still be under our control, right? Even if it's at h8 or h1. The h file will still be under our rook's control, so that is fine. And the reason the king cannot kill our rook is simple because the queen is protecting it. and f1 is under our control, g1 is also under our control because we moved our rook from h8 to h1. So there are no other places the king can escape. This was again a complete checkmate. The other way I was talking about this could that we could do a checkmate was not using the rook, but still a checkmate. It was simply you do the reverse. So you brought your rook down here. Why? Because your queen was protecting your rook. You do the opposite of that. You bring your queen down here. Oh no, sorry. We cannot bring our queen down here. Why? So there is only one way. Why? Why cannot you bring your queen down? Why? Because the enemy rook has pinned your queen. What that means? That means you cannot move your queen. As soon as you move your queen, your king will be under a check, and that would be an illegal move. You cannot bring your king into a check. You cannot drive yourself into an accident, right? That would be an illegal move. So that was all for today. I hope you guys understood. I hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you in next class. Bye bye.